Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Reality Recap. I'm your host, Queen E, and today we're going to talk about Beyond the Villa, episode 6. Was it episode 6? I think so. And then the finale and reunion of Perfect Match, along with some other post-perfect match drama that's been going on. Now, I'm only hearing from the TikTok streets. I don't know what's been verified or not, but I'm just going to share with y'all what I've come across. So before I get into everything, please make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe on all platforms. If you could, I would greatly appreciate it. We are steadily growing, and honestly, I love y'all the long way. I truly do. Y'all are doing the damn thing over there. Thank you so much. And as a reminder, as always, you could have an ad-free listening experience with Apple subscriptions. Okay. So going into Beyond the Villa. So of course, we're coming off the back of Janae and Kenny having their awkward little silent fight at their anniversary dinner. So PPG is at, I think, Saddle Rock, and they still want to touch on what happened at Saddle Ranch. So of course, Aaron and Kayla are the main subject, right? It seems like people aren't quite sure if Aaron and Kayla really do have something lingering going on. Serena, however, is like, absolutely not. These two are not doing anything on the low. And honestly, I don't think that they were doing anything on the low. I think that it would have been easier to pick up on, but are there residual feelings there? I believe that at the date of publication, at the date of when they did this episode, absolutely. On both sides, because how messy it was, how Kayla really was rubbing Torrin in Aaron's face, whether it was deliberate or she didn't realize she was doing it. I do think that there were residual feelings there, but Serena is like, listen, I'm team Kayla. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. And I'm like, that's interesting. It seems like Serena and Kayla have built a bond like over the last year. So that's good, especially because we know Liv and Kayla have not been having the best summer in terms of their friendship. So it's nice to see that Kayla still has a few girls that really ride with her and who are still part of this whole like Love Island season 6 crew, right? So then they talk about the Janae and Kenny fallout. Basically, Kenny did go over, I think it was like the next night or something, and they hash things out. Now, coincidentally, they have footage of them hashing it out. I think it was a little messier than what we saw. Absolutely. Because the way that their energy was just so negative at the end of it, there's no way it would have just been some cordial conversation, seeing how quickly they were triggered in their initial conversation. I just think it was a little messier, but that's totally fine. They do not need to give us that. That is their personal life. They're entitled to keep that private. However, you can start to see that Janae is really picking up on Kenny's weird vibes. She literally is like, yo, the way that he was staring me down, it felt like serial killer vibes. That's not the vibe that I'd like to say my boyfriend is giving me. I'll be completely honest with you. So I think at this point, maybe some things are really starting to resonate with Janae to think, something's going on. I don't know quite what it is. And that could be the reason why, the speculation is, Janae went through that phone and saw what happened. It like saw what he was doing and saying. And that is still crazy. I cannot wait for Janae's tell all. Like, not to say that, you know, Kenny deserves to be flogged and all this kind of stuff. I'm not even that kind of person. I just want to know. My curiosity is just through the roof when it comes to this situation. Like, what was the turning point for her to be like, nah, something here is very wrong and I need to get to the bottom of it. Like, what was it? I just want to know. And I want to know the explicits of what was said. Again, we're not owed, but I would just like to know. We then see Miguel and Kenny going to Muay Thai. Apparently this is something that Miguel has been doing for a long time. I was thinking the way that the internet is so unhinged, the show should not have shown that Kenny can't fight. They definitely should not have shown us that footage. I said, you know, some people are going to run with that information and do whatever the hell they want to do. Y'all don't do that. Do not do that. I'm so glad they touched on the social media backlash again in this episode because, baby, sometimes y'all be going overboard. Not too long ago, Janae herself was like, stop showing up at people's jobs, stop sending his family hate, like you are taking it overboard. Now, she didn't say stop doing it towards Kenny, but I'm going to say it to y'all. If y'all are doing that, people have unalived themselves for less. we're not going to add to that. All right. But anyways, we head back to PPG talking about their timelines, their ideal timelines for marriage. Serena was like, within the first 6 months, I'm going to know whether or not I want to marry you. So this time next year, if he don't propose, I don't know. Leah kind of felt the same way. She was like, yeah, in the first handful of months, you pretty much know if this is going to be your person. Janae's philosophy is that you date for 2 years, live together for a year. I don't know if that year was that secondary year of dating. I'm not quite sure. And then you can decide if you want to be married, or I guess within that time, because there's no way that it's only after 3 years that you would know, right? But I'm with Leah and Serena. Baby, when you know, you know. I don't need to take 3 years, to decide if you're my person. I also don't need to live with you to know that I want to do life with you. Now, in doing life with you, you might have some idiosyncrasies that I wasn't quite prepared for. Understood. You might have some living habits that are not for me. However, don't let roommate issues be partner issues. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are roommate stuff. If your partnership is solid, really that shouldn't be a problem at all. And hopefully the both of you have like a teachable spirit. If you say, listen, I don't like that you just be throwing your shoes around everywhere. I don't like that you don't put your clothes in the laundry basket. I don't like that you leave the dishes overnight. We could work together. If they can't work together, it's a deeper issue. At least that's my opinion. So then we move on to Kendall, who goes on another date with Alana. However, he's late. And it is to be pointed out that she lives hours away. And he is late. I'm sorry. I'm not buying that he's actually serious about this girl. And if they're together today, sorry. He just gets very unserious in general, and more so with Alana, from the fact that she lives far away and he doesn't know if he could deal with the distance. Now, like, you're actually planning a date, but you're not being punctual yourself. I don't know. It's just, So anyways, Kendall is talking to the cameras and he's opening up about the fact that dating is still hard for him because he's stuck on what happened with him and Nicole. Not that he still loves her. Maybe he still has strong feelings not strong like I yearn to be with you, but there's a something there. It is hindering his dating experience. So they showed footage of that I love you scene on the beach, and I forgot how cringe I thought that was. I hated it then. I hate watching it back. But anyways, he's like, yeah, I've never felt that strongly for anybody at all. And then you have some different strong feelings regarding the aftermath of his, explicit video being exposed and stuff. So there's a lot of complex feelings around that. So I completely understand him maybe feeling like there's a barrier when it comes to dating. But if that's the case, let's sort that out before we bring somebody else into your mess. How about that? You're a big man. You have to know that you got to deal with your stuff before you project that stuff onto somebody else. And if you don't know, now you know. Thank you very much. Moving on. The girls meet up with, the girls being PPG, meet up with Ariana, and Ariana is so happy to see them, but she also wants to talk about like social media stuff. And it is clear as day that they are still struggling with being perceived in such a big way by, this large audience. And I don't blame them. This year alone, PPG is being thrown into the drama that happened on season 7, mind you. Don't nobody from season 6 know anybody from season 7, at least like at the time that the show was going on. That seemed to be the case. But it was like, oh yeah, Leah has a problem with so-and-so and Serena and Janae, they're following bullies and so. Oh my gosh. And whether or not you know it to be true, it is irritating to be faced with that kind of negative commentary day in and day out from people who do not know you from a can of paint. It's one thing to comment on a TV show and also to do it on your own platform. It's another thing to go to people and to speak on them as if you know them, as if you know what they're going through. They didn't invite you into their business. Stay out of it. How about that? But Ariana, obviously she can relate. She went through a big scandal. And so that obviously just picked up any kind of commentary that was going on about her life. So she completely understands. They then get a text that they are going to be involved in a brand shoot for the Hot Girl swimwear. I forget what the real name is called. But anyways, it's Meg the Stallion's swim line, which now makes sense because I was like, yo, Meg the Stallion being on season 7 was just kind of like random. But I guess everything was happening in tandem. We just didn't know at the time. So, or I guess no, people did know because people knew before the show came out that everybody was going to Miami. So yeah. They're all excited. I think one person was hesitant to go. I don't remember, but definitely Kaylor is like, I need to go be with my grandmother. Girl, I'm so glad because I was like, if they are contractually forcing this girl to stay, nah. Like Love Island would actually be doing the absolute most, but she is allowed to go. She does talk to Serena about it, and Serena is like, girl, family comes first. You focus on what you need to focus on. And when you're good and ready, you can come back. Like, don't feel any pressure to need to be in the scene if your family needs you. And I love that. And this is where we see Kaylor say that Serena has really been a support system for her. And I just wonder what was the catalyst for that, because I didn't really see them get too close on the show. And both of them make it a point to say that this is a relationship that's been developing after the fact. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that they do have that bond. Kaylor needs friends. She really does. And she needs friends with sound mind. As I'm watching Serena more and more, I'm really fond of her and like the way that she thinks and stuff. Like she really does not want to be in the drama. She does not want to be in the mess. I mean, hell, people make her life dramatic even when it's not. They keep saying that her relationship is fake and stuff. And from watching the show, I can see why people go there. But at the end of the day, like she is living her own life. She just wants to be at peace. And she's actively doing that. And I love that for her. So I love that Kaylor is gravitating towards Serena too, because I do think that she could learn a lot from her as well. So moving on, we have Nicole, who meets up with Serena and Leah. Apparently, these are the only girls from season 6 that she really talks to, because apparently Kendall told Liv and what's her name now, Kaylor, to unfollow her. So she's like, you know what? From a friend standpoint, I get it. Like their allegiance was going to be to Kendall before it was to me. But Kendall denies it adamantly. He's like, no, I never did that. I never did that. But then we cut to Liv, who's talking to Aaron, and she's like, yeah, he absolutely told us to unfollow her. And so we did. Now, I kind of wish that they had a backbone of their own. If they were unfollowing her because of their own convictions, like that's one thing. But to do it just because you're told to, especially when, you know, there was some stuff on Kendall's side too, that would be heartbreaking. So I really do feel for Nicole in that whole thing. She, however, is enjoying her summer. She's the only one who's having a proper hot girl summer because, you know, Kaylor and Liv, they got booed up real quick. But she says she has a roster and she's enjoying exploring it. Let's leave it there. So I love that for her. But she's like, yeah, even with all of that, I still do want to talk to Kendall. So we do see them meet up for the first time since New York. So it seems like they had been talking a little bit after the reunion, and clearly they just couldn't get to some kind of agreement. Basically, they ended things over the phone. I think that was beforehand. Hold on. What was the timeline? I know one of y'all are going to know. So it's okay. I don't even have to go through it because one of y'all know and y'all probably going to comment it. After the fact, she did say that she loved him and, you know, they were trying to work things out. Obviously, it didn't work out. Kendall's biggest issue was that she exposed the fact that the video wasn't old. And so he was like, bruh, like you aired me out on public television. Like I look crazy. Honestly, I can understand why she would do that because everybody was flogging Nicole. And Nicole is thinking there is so much more to the story. And I look like the villain because it seems like I'm not supporting my man. But like my man has been lying to me. You know what I'm saying? I still understand where she's coming from. She handled it poorly. I'm sure we can all agree. But her feelings made sense to me. They surely did. She does say that she doesn't regret the time that they spent together. He also agrees. Her biggest regret is not being more empathetic when he was going through everything he went through. And like I said earlier, people have unalived themselves for less. So I do understand like feeling bad to say I could have had more care, because if it would have went left, you would be living with that guilt for a long time. At least I would assume so, right? So I definitely do understand where she's coming from. They decided to bury the hatchet, which is great. Before the episode came out, I did see some pictures from Love Island USA, and they had a picture like cozied up together. And I was like, oh, you know what? That's cute. it sucks that they couldn't have developed things further. I mean, I was a little bit of a skeptic, but stranger things have happened with some of these Love Island couples. Sometimes the couple you would never put together ends up being the one that lasts the longest. So yeah, it sucks, but at least having experienced what they experienced, they now know how to navigate like very intense feelings like that, very sticky situations like that. And also it's an example that, you know, the love that you've once felt is obviously out there. If you felt it once, you can likely feel it again. So I do love that for them. I forget what goes on in the next episode, but we will see. We're coming to a close. I think there's 2 more episodes now. So I'm intrigued to see if they're going to do anything after the fact, since so much has happened since the season wrapped. I also am curious if they're going to do a season 2, because I don't think the viewership has been that great. And on top of that too, it is like, it's not filmed in real time. And I think that's the allure of Love Island. The branch of Love Island that kind of has it done right is Australia. They do pre-film, but they also have like a focus group that votes on stuff, and they film things in a way that kind of feels like it's being done in real time. Whereas with Beyond the Villa, we know it was filmed months ago, so we know things are outdated. And then when stuff comes out like the whole Kenny thing, how do they address that? Is that a season 2 thing? Is that, I know the producers were crapping themselves, being like, damn it, that would have been great for ratings. Literally the ratings did boost up after the whole Kenny thing, because people want to go like search for the signs. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what is the future for Beyond the Villa, but let's swiftly move past that and talk about Perfect Match. Before I get into it, Hannah and QT have been speaking out on social media. A lot of people have, honestly. Madison has. I'm trying to think who else. I'm so focused on Love is Blind UK right now. Oh, are you guys watching Love is Blind UK? I'm thoroughly entertained right now. Thoroughly entertained. But anyways, Hannah and QT, they actually went on dates after the mixer. So I had that information confused. I thought it was beforehand, but it was after. So Hannah and QT went on dates with Scott and Ray, respectively. Hannah thought that it was just sibling vibes between her and Scott, and I don't blame her. Apparently, Scott was in accordance with that, so it's not like she's shading him at all. It seems like he agrees. Also, he was, 23 when he was filming that, and she was coming in ready for marriage and kids. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So I could understand why for her, she's like, I mean, really there wasn't going to be any potential. People had been in the villa for long enough to have their connections be solidified. It doesn't make sense to risk that if you want to still be titled the perfect match, which still I don't understand, because it doesn't come with anything. It's just a trip. And the couple that went on the trip even broke up. Sorry. Let me focus. Then QT says that the only fallout that came from her date with Ray was that Rachel was very emotional, but she immediately got back with him. So she can understand why they decided to cut that out. And then because Hannah and Scott really didn't have anything going on, they understand why that was cut out as well. Now, let's get into Hannah. As we know, for weeks now, she has been teasing who her baby daddy is. I still have my bets on Jalen simply because people were like, oh, maybe it's Carrington. Maybe it's Ray. The skin tone just wasn't matching for me. So I was like, if it's anybody from the show, it has to be Jalen, baby. It was somebody completely unaffiliated, which makes sense, because if she feels like Netflix is trying to like teach her a lesson by completely cutting, well, not completely, but by cutting most of her appearance out on the show, it could be because of the fact that promoting her and maybe her relationship would make it seem like the perfect match doesn't work. There's a reason why they're championing AD and Ollie. They want to make it seem like this show was legit and you can actually come away with a partner. I think they'd have better potential putting in whole new singles and making it a longer process. I'm sorry, the Netflix universe people, they know they want to stay relevant. So they're going to do whatever it takes to stay on a show, whether or not they're building strong connections. But if you bring in new people, of course, they could also be looking for clout, but it's a clean slate. You don't have the history, oh, this person has already done this. And so do it like the Traders. Sometimes the Traders mixes celebrities and civilians. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But back to Hannah. Hannah posted this on her TikTok. She's now revealed who her baby daddy is because she read the contract and she said, baby, I'm well within my rights to share my story. So she says, Lou, where would I be without you? Your love is the strongest thing I have. You loved me when I was jobless, bouncing from Airbnbs at my parents' house, trying to figure out what was next for me after TV. Little did I know. Wait. Oh, so has Lou been around for a minute? I haven't read this, guys. I just saw it, screenshotted it, and I was like, I'm going to bring this to y'all. Okay. Little did I know I was about to go on the greatest adventure of my life. You loved me as a girl who was partying and rediscovering God, and your love has allowed me to transform into a God-fearing woman, into the God-fearing woman I am today, the one I'm proud to be, and the version of myself that gets to carry our baby. Now, I'm just going to pause. Not coming for her Christian journey at all, right? The way that she was teasing that her baby daddy could be other people, and then also saying that like you've had this transformation in terms of like following Christ and stuff like that. Would that sit well with y'all? I don't know if it would sit well with me if I was the baby daddy. And I say baby daddy just because they're engaged, they're not married. With the father of her child. I'm sorry. Let me be respectful. Moving on. She says, I talk about how proud I am of the man you've become all the time, but the truth is you have changed me. You're fearless, loyal, and have a heart of gold. I'm so lucky to see the world through your eyes. No, the world will never get to see our love story on screen. I didn't meet you on the perfect match, but I'm so happy it's just for the two of us to keep tucked inside our memories that only you and I will share. I am so excited to marry you, raise this baby together, and have you through every up and down as my partner and my rock. Thank you for supporting me, loving me even harder through all these crazy changes I'm going through physically and mentally during pregnancy. And thank you already for being the best dad to our baby. They don't know how loved they already are. That is beautiful. Listen, I've spoken a few times about how like being in this current relationship has healed me so much. I don't know that it's like changed me as a person, but it's been quite like enlightening on the woman who I feel like I've always been, but maybe just didn't have the chance to really like stand firmly in. And so I get it. Being in a healthy, happy relationship is so transformative. So I love that she's found that. And I love that she can finally share who the real father of her baby is, because all that trolling, I'm sorry. If I was the father of the child, I would say that's enough. Okay, wrap it up. Speaking of wrapping it up, I'm so tired of hearing from Clayton. Apparently he went on the Val Files. I did not watch that, but Rachel did, or at least her friends did. And on there, he basically was like letting people assume what was the issue with Rachel. And so she's like, yo, I don't like that he's doing that because you're making it seem like there's this big scary thing about me that made you not want to connect with me for a third time. So she was like, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. She went on AD's podcast and she was saying that she called until they eventually had a conversation. Wouldn't you know? The reason why he broke up with her was because she's not a gym girly. Clayton, be so for real. Be so for real. Number one, you knew this the first time, the second time, and most definitely the third time. Granted, I'm still looking at Rachel like, girl, don't let this man play in your face 3 times. Like, let's be so for real. But Clayton, you cannot be serious. And honestly, I was joking when I said he probably came on the show to promote his TikTok. But seeing how the only footage we saw of him in this episode was him not being asked in the whole like reunion segment that they have, and then him dancing at the end of the episode, like, oh yeah, look at me doing my TikTok. Nobody cares but Sandy, because we know Sandy was a fangirl. Like, Clayton, what are you actually on for real? I don't want to see this man on my screen again. I didn't watch The Bachelor, but thank God I didn't. Ooh, just taking up space, child. But let's go into the perfect match. So on episode 9, we left off with Sandy and I think it was, what's her name now? I'm already forgetting these people. Listen, when the show was over, I'm done too. Sandy and Juliet with their decision on who they were going to couple up with. Sandy dumps JR and chooses to stick with Louis. And then we see JR being like, Louis gonna play you. Like, why not go with somebody who's more sure about you and stuff like that? Sandy's whole philosophy is, I've already been here with you. And so I don't see the point in exploring things. I get it. Louis is not necessarily a better option, but what other option does she have in this villa? If she's trying to stick to the end, then Louis is her best bet. Then we see Daniel apologize to Lucy. She accepted his apology, and they matched up. Seeing how things ended, I'm not surprised. This couple should have never been together. I know that people think that like, oh, Lucy is a red flag or whatnot. Sure, I don't quite see it in the way that I see it for Daniel, but the way that Daniel was moving to me, nothing can justify that. Literally nothing could justify that. I didn't see enough from Lucy to say, oh, well, I can understand why he was. No. Anything that girl will do, he would turn it into this big deal, guilt her into feeling bad, and then apologize because, oh, this is just not him. He's acting out of character. He's only jealous because he cares so much. Oh, shut up. Please. Don't want to hear it. But anyways, she wanted to hear it that night. She matched with them. Moving on. We have everybody who matches up with who you would expect them to match up, except for Juliet. She's annoyed with Scott because, of course, she knows the things that Scott was saying about her at the mixer and stuff like that. But then Scott is annoyed with her because Carrington told Scott that on their date, she was like, yeah, he's typically not the person that I would be with because he's not mature enough and whatever. So now Scott, he's livid. He's riled up. I don't even want to be with you anyways. You know what? If you're going to think this way about me, how about you couple up with nobody? They leave. Scott and Carrington leave. I said, wait a damn minute. Wait, hold on. Like, that's an option? But yeah, they left. And of course, that means Juliet had to leave too. And I was like, Because of how that happened, I was feeling bad for Juliet, but I forgot that Juliet was actually annoying me. Like, even the girls were calling her out because she was just having a cow about Scott. And they were like, well, you are a little over the top. We had Madison co-signing that. Lucy co-signing that. AD was the one who even brought it up. Ooh. You got all these girls saying that you're doing the most. You might be doing the most, girl. You might be doing the most. But yeah, these Love Islanders, I really wanted more for them. I truly did. I love Love Island. I love the OG Love Islanders too. Like the first few seasons, that's where my heart is really at in terms of like my fandom. But the way that they showed up, barring Justine, it just gave, Justine to me didn't give game player. She could have been playing a game. I think that she genuinely did like Ollie, but Carrington, Ray, Scott the most were just giving, oh, I'm here to play a game. I can see why it would be easy to think that because all these people have already been on reality TV before. There is this like title at the end of it. You're not even there for a long time, so you're not really building a genuine connection. And the longer you're on screen, the more money you get and the more recognizability there is for you when you come out. Like, oh yeah, I saw you on this show. Let's partner you with this brand. It's like there are pros to staying on the show for longer. So I can see why people are leaning in towards, the strategy of it all. But yeah, them three specifically, it really read as gameplay. And I was thinking, you might have missed out on something great. You probably could have had a strong connection here if you were genuine, but I guess we'll never know. So then we have Ollie, who plans a date for AD. It was cute. I will say it was cute. However, I've completely forgot what that date was because everybody got sent on the final dates. Honestly, it was like a good mix of stuff. There were massages. There was a dinner on the beach. There was a sound bath for one of them. There was even like this cave date. I'm not going to lie. That would kind of terrify me. I don't, scared of like bats and creepy crawlies and like dark spaces. It's not for me. But yeah, they gave romantic. It is so funny seeing how the perfect match had like these final dates that are like quintessentially Love Island coded. But Love Island UK has cut the budget for some reason on these final dates. And now they just like send the boys out to get some ingredients and maybe some gifts. And then you just sit in the villa and do something cute. Bring back the final dates. A perfect match reminded me that I miss the final dates. I want something proper. But anyways, let's fast forward to the reunion. I don't know if they're going to do a proper reunion simply because of well, everybody talking now that the NDAs have expired, it seems. And then they did their little catch up thing with AD and Ollie, and obviously now she has a podcast. If we're gonna hear anything from the cast of Perfect Match, it's probably gonna be from the podcast, which makes complete sense. So at this reunion, Scott and Juliet, they're going at it, baby. He is still upset at the fact that she was talking about him behind his back, but Scott, you weren't serious. You were not serious. I completely understand why she had some things to say. You had spent more time with her, yet she had deeper conversations with Carrington. Now, was Carrington being genuine at this point? No, I don't know. But of course, she had the right to question your connection. He's acting like she was like, oh yeah, he's so immature. Like he would be a waste of time. I'm only using him for clout. Like she wasn't talking cash crazy. Okay, so relax. He was on smoke, and Nick had to cool it off because it was getting out of hand. Then we have a Rachel and a Ray who think that although their connection is fresh, they do have a lot more in common than people would expect, and they do have great potential on the outside. Honestly, it's hard to say whether or not they would have been a great match on the outside. I'm assuming they're not together. I haven't seen any news about them still being together, simply because the Perfect Match is not structured to fall in love with these couples as couples. It literally is just this big challenge, So I haven't seen a lot of their deep conversations. We don't see them in their little rooms when they go off for the night. We don't see the downtime that they have together. So I don't know. Can't even say, oh yeah, as a viewer, I do see it for them. Not really. But anyways, Justine is like, listen, I know Ray. I've known him for years. I see the connection he has with Rachel. I can vouch for their relationship. Now, I don't even think she feels that. And here's my theory. On Love Island Games, we know that she did Ray dirty. And Ray, the man was very upset. Okay? Very, very upset. Obviously, they've made amends. But I think that this is her trying to do him a solid because on their last show together, she did him dirty. And because of the way that the Perfect Match was structured beforehand, you could vote for anybody. So I think having that, seal of approval from somebody else who's an onlooker, she thought that would give him a better chance at winning, but it didn't matter anyways because of how things ended. Then we have Alex, who called out Louis for not genuinely getting to know people. Obviously talking about her specifically. Now we know that they all had a pact that is clear as day when you're watching the show, that these people were just going to default to who they were with beforehand. And so Alex is like, well, you could have actually had something with somebody else, me in particular, if you were genuine, if you really wanted to explore. And he's like, oh, well, if anything, we had our fights because I was exploring and what? No, you weren't exploring because your main objective at the end of the day was to get back with Sandy. If Alex was his original partner, he would have stuck with her. If Olivia was his original partner, he would have stuck with her. Like, the man came for a game. We know this. I actually think him and Alex would have been on the same type of vibe. They're both like a little bit younger. They're both here for, the scene that comes from when these shows are done. They're both a little bit freaky dicky. You know what I'm saying? I think they would have been a great match, but oh well. Realistically, it really wouldn't work between Sandy and Louis. Even if we saw actual potential there, I think that they're in two different spaces in life, and the distance does not help at all. Now seeing who Sandy is with anyways, you could tell she was looking for a little bit something different. She was not looking for a young boy who is now with Huda on streaming stuff and like trying to get clout. She wanted a man who can, secure her future. And she's doing exactly that. Good on you, Sandy. I'm not mad at it. I'm not. Then we have Lucy who Lucy and Daniel, who are asked about their jealousy. She says that she understands that this isn't a great environment for people who really struggle with seeing their partner connect with somebody else. But she says that she has been challenged by him in the best ways. And even though the other women might feel like Daniel is a problem, she has learned a lot in dealing with him. I almost called her Nancy. Lucy, I'm going to need you to stand up, girl. I'm going to need you to stand up. I think the process itself has been a learning experience for her, but I don't think it was Daniel. I never saw her walk away from that connection with Daniel having like refined their communication, having strengthened their bond. Really, like we saw them go through yet another tiff about the same thing over and over. So what were you learning? What was being challenged? I don't know. It's nice to say, It's cute to hear, but it's simply not true. In my opinion, you could disagree. But yeah, I don't think that he challenged you and he helped you grow. I think like the whole experience, like Daniel wasn't actually teaching her anything other than what not to deal with moving forward. Moving on. Madison says that she has no regrets putting herself on a date with Freddie, and he jokingly says she's all right. You know, the UK banter, it's not really sitting well with a lot of people, but I think coming out of Freddie's mouth, people are like okay with it. Like, oh, it's Freddie. If it were Ollie or Louis who said the same thing, you know, people would have been up in arms, but he was like, you know, she's all right. Freddie, not too much. No, we like you. Okay. So I think, if these two were to continue, we obviously know that they're not together anymore, he would have been drained. I think he would have. This might be an opinion that I only have, but Madison to me, like, I don't know. I don't have words. But I think in the long run, it wouldn't have worked out anyways. That's just my opinion. Last was Ollie and AD. They aren't really happy with what Justine was saying. She obviously disapproves of their connection. Ooh, Ollie, ooh. When Ollie gets a little bit frustrated, he gets a little snappy. And I'm like, not too much now, Ollie, okay? You can understand why people question the legitimacy of your relationship because the minute she was gone, you turned around and did a madness and felt no way about it. So yeah, people have the right to say something. And again, this is the same man who, as soon as he saw Charlotte on his season, mind you, he's engaged to Demi and he's saying he loves her. And I know that Love is Blind is like, it's just such a weird show that people don't see the engagements as legitimate engagements. But because the process ends in legitimate marriages, this ain't no Married at First Sight UK where the marriages are just for show. These are legally binding marriages. I'm going to see the engagement as a serious engagement. When he saw Charlotte, oh, she's berserk. She's sublime. This is the same, like, he's so easily excited all the time. Now, knowing what we know, I'm sure AD is never going to enlighten us on any other problems that she had been going through with Ollie. But I wouldn't be surprised if him having a wandering eye was something that was still present on the outside. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sorry. So somebody chimes in and they're like, oh, I can see you guys getting married. I think it was Juliet or something. I'm just like, here goes the show trying to force feed us this connection. Okay, good on y'all. Okay, y'all are engaged. Y'all are getting married. I love that for you. Y'all are having a baby. I pray for a healthy delivery. Pray for a healthy baby. But the way the show was portraying it, I'm just like, oof. Okay, sure. So they end up playing the newlywed game. Basically, it's to see which couples have actually formed a strong connection, and only the top 2 couples are going to be eligible for the vote. So everybody knew each other's birthday, thank God. If they didn't, that actually would have been a mess. Then everyone but Freddie and Ray knew where they had their first kiss, so they were eliminated from the game. And then everyone but Louis knew what their flaw was, that their partner thought was a flaw in them. And so he was dumped as well, which means the last 2 couples standing were Lucy and Daniel and Ollie and AD. Lucy and Daniel and Ollie and AD. I could low-key give a pass to Ollie and AD. But I would rather see Ray and Rachel. Truly. I would have rather seen them. Freddie and Madison would have made more sense. But because of this stupid game, it's now these people in the final. So the vote goes through, and the couple that wins is Lucy and Daniel. We don't get to see by how much of the vote because they showed the first few votes and then they did a little montage. No, don't montage me. Show me the vote. What is going on with the production team over there at The Perfect Match? Kinetic, are y'all good? Show us the material. We're missing so much from The Perfect Match. I feel like that's why the show is not hitting. It's season 3. There should be more frenzy around this show. It's all our faves coming on these shows. Like, we should be excited, but we're not excited because it's executed poorly. Moving on. They broke up 2 weeks later. I'm not surprised in the slightest. Of course they'd break up 2 weeks later. Like, This relationship was not sustainable at all. It was toxic. Toxic. I can only imagine what their breakup conversation was like. Obviously, we know that it let me not say obviously. I assume it would have included tears and yelling because that has been the relationship so far. Tears and yelling, jealousy and chaos, guilt tripping and gaslighting. Anyways, it seems as if the cast for the most part isn't allowed to say anything until I think it was Monday. So that would have been yesterday if you're seeing this on the day that it posts. So we don't really know for sure who's with who unless they've kind of been sneaky. However, it is being rumored that Lucy is with Freddie. But then people are also saying that Freddie is with Jessica Lord, who apparently is an ex of somebody. I forget who she's the ex of. But yeah, based on the picture that people were circulating, it was Freddie and then a girl's silhouette. It really does look like Lucy. It does. So we'll see. I wouldn't be mad at that. The distance works out. I think that she needs somebody soft like Freddie. Oh my gosh. Just that tender lover boy that he is. Oh, that would be great. I need her to be with somebody like that. Not somebody who makes her feel bad for doing things that, number one, everybody else is doing and she's not even doing to that degree, but like who just makes her feel like a disappointment. She literally said, I don't like the fact that I'm with somebody who is always disappointed by me. That is not the vibe at all. At all. So anyways, I did see a video of somebody talking about Madison and they were like, could you imagine being Madison, having gone through Love is Blind, putting all of that to rest, going on The Perfect Match, being with Freddie, breaking up, and then having to go film the reunion of Love is Blind when you do not care about any of that. She could have potentially still been unpacking her feelings from dealing with Freddie. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody care about no damn, I forget those boys. Who were those boys? Those boys, y'all know them from Love is Blind. I don't want to talk about them. I do not care. I'm going through stuff. I actually had a viable connection, a really good guy, and it didn't work out. Yeah, I watched that video and I was like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Maybe that's why she was just so over it at the reunion. Like, listen, I don't have anything to say to you people. I've said all that I needed to say. Let's move on. I feel you, Madison. I truly do. Then, of course, we see Ollie and AD. He joked in his little confessional that, if things don't work out, I'll just be back next year. I said, people are not taking too kindly to your jokes, Ollie. So, I mean, granted, it's not like he knew that was going to be in the show, but it was just funny to me how they put that in and how people feel about him. But anyways, they obviously end the season with the engagement. And I'm thinking, this isn't even hitting the way that it's supposed to hit because we've known about this engagement for months now. Y'all debuted it on another Netflix show as the advertisement for The Perfect Match. Y'all took too long to put the show out. Way too long. It just doesn't even hit the same. When that video started going, I wanted to turn off the camera, but I didn't know turn off my TV, but I didn't know what else they were going to show. They also show the pregnancy announcement. I'm like, y'all are doing too much now. Y'all are doing so much. They're really trying to drive the point home that, perfect match will actually find you your perfect match. No, it'll not. These two are the anomaly. They are not the rule. They are the exception. Love that they found love. I hope that it is healthy. I hope that they have a long relationship. I honestly pray a blessing on their union. Truly, truly, I do. But I'm not convinced that The Perfect Match would ever give anybody something like this. Like, please, the structure needs to be completely different. I think they should dibble and dabble with bringing some people who are not affiliated with any show at all and see what happens. Elongate the process too. I get it. Netflix does not want to spend too much time. I think even Love Island, like the actual experience, runs longer than Love is Blind. But you see how attached we get to Love is Blind? Also, the binging of it doesn't help either. I think they could do daily drops. Y'all are big Netflix. Y'all could figure it out. Y'all could do a daily drop. I would love a daily drop. Instead of you drop 6 episodes in one day. That's insane. My rant is over. Thank you guys for watching. I will keep my ears to the streets. And obviously, if y'all send me stuff, I will watch. Because y'all be helping me out. Y'all be keeping me in the loop. Thank you very much. I'll see if there's any other fallout that comes out of this season. I'm sure people are going to be talking because a lot of people are not happy with how things went down. We know Clayton feels like he has more to say. Who else feels like they have more to say? I think QT and Madison did want to say more, but because at the time that I saw their videos, they weren't allowed to speak yet. They were keeping it cute. So I'm intrigued to see. I want to know what Justine has to say. I haven't heard anything from Justine. Are you going to go on a podcast? It can't be What's the Reality. I'm just taking that in. She can't go on What's the... Girl, come over here. Justine. Hey, girl. Come on the podcast. Let's talk, baby. Honestly, I'd be so hyped if that happened. But anyways, the reunion for Love Island drops Monday, August 25th. So we're also going to talk about that. And yeah, that's what you have to anticipate in the next few weeks on the reality recap. So stay tuned. If you're not already subscribed, please do so you don't miss what we got going on over here. As always, like, comment, share, do all those lovely things. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.